Hey, what is up, guys? It is Rapmark here. So, doing my review for Minions: The Rise of Gru. It's about a week late, so I apologize for that. Um, but here we go. It kind of works out because this was. So, I've seen all five now, but I've seen the previous four Despicable Me Minions movies. And this one was definitely probably the worst one, to be completely honest. Um, like, there was no emotional beats for me. They had a lot of great voice actors. I mean, Steve Carell, obviously, with Gru. Um, and then Michelle Yeoh was in there. That part itself seemed very random, but even though it was promoted, obviously, but uh, it wasn't as big into the plot as I thought it would be. And then you have like all these, like you have Julie Andrews, Alan Arkin, um, who else was in this? Jean Claude Van Damme played the villain Jean Claude, obviously. Lucy Lawless, Dolph Lundgren, Danny Trejo. I mean, there were a ton of good voice actors here, and I literally didn't even know who they were until we hit I hit the casting. Like once the cast and credits started going up, that was the only way I actually knew who they were. It just they they didn't have standout performances in here, and I don't know if it was the writing, the performances, or what, but yeah, none of these are big voices and very distinctive voices as well, and none of them really stood out to me, and that is unfortunate. I thought they had great music, but like it was just so. It's like why did you get such great music for that? I mean, it's for emotional beats, obviously, you know, feel pumped up, feel sad, and it's just like I, it was just sort of a movie I went to. I watched it. I mean, I didn't feel it was a waste of my time, but I didn't feel it was a good movie either. So, I mean, I was entertained, but I wasn't amused, which is, I mean, you say like that this is made for kids, and it's just like I've seen the other four, and I was not that much younger than I am now, and I actually enjoyed those movies. Like I was laughing when the first Despicable Me, like very hard. There was a point where I was like going red in the face, and while I feel that they've all gone down quality, Despicable Me one was the best. Despicable Me 2 was good, not as good as 1. Uh, 3 was like it was okay. It was like okay, and then Minions was kind of like meh. And this sort of deals with the Minions meeting Gru, and I kind of hoped and thought that it would be built upon that. It really didn't. It almost turns into a side plot on its own, which is, I mean, considering how like big of connection the Minions and Gru have, it kind of felt like a complete waste. Like, what were you thinking here? And yeah, the story was just completely out there. There seemed to be, you know, plot points which just trailed off into nothingness, and it's just like stuff just happens in this movie, and it's built around like the minions and their antics, and I just wasn't feeling it. It just felt like it was a one trick pony, and the trick got old really quick because this is stuff we've all seen with Despicable Me and the original Minions, which I did not like. Well, I mean, I enjoyed it, but it just wasn't my favorite. This one's worse than that. So I know I did review Minions. I forgot what the heck I did it because that came out way back when I started doing reviews. That came out in like 2015, and I wasn't very consistent. So and I'm sure I could find it, but I'm not going to. Um, but yeah, I went in with low expectations. I knew it's a kids film. It's like building on this brand, which is a big brand. Like if you look at these movies, like just in its first week it's been out, 248 million. So I mean, and this is just it after the first week. So we'll see where that goes. But I mean, Minions itself. Come on, where are you? There we go. So, Despicable Me, $543 or $543 million. Despicable Me 2, $970 million. Despicable Me 3, $1.035 billion. Oh, and then so Minions that made $1.159 billion. And if you look at the Rotten Tomatoes, it's not good. It's really bad. It's like in the 50s, I believe. And apparently, a Despicable Me 4 is coming out in 2024. Oh my gosh. This should be interesting. Like, so this is a franchise that makes money, that has steadily made more money as the franchises progress. So I don't know. I mean, apparently a number four Despicable Me is coming out, so I don't know how that is going to play into it at all. So we'll we'll see. Um, so what would I give this? I'm just going to go into final ratings. Like I said, it wasn't a waste of time, but I wasn't amused. It's not one I'd want to see again, and it's not one I'd encourage people to see on their own. Like I went, and there were some kids there. The movie theater was still very full. Again, this has been out for a week, so um, I heard a few laughs here and there, but for the most part, it was pretty quiet. And the only real noise I said when it ended, the person in front of me and his family clapped. And I was like, all right. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna say this is average. There it really didn't hit the heights that any of the other Despicable Me's hit for me, let alone Minions, which I found to be more amusing, though definitely not a good movie either. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna give this one a 5, to be honest. it just it wasn't what I'd hoped it would be, and the story was just all over the place. So yeah, I think that's going to do it for this part. So I will be back in the spoiler section. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys then. Hey guys, it is Rapmark here. So back with the spoilers. So gonna keep this fairly concise. Um, it pretty much is you know who minions are, and these ones deal with minions we've had before. And what the heck are their names? There's Bob, there's Kevin, and Stuart. So it mainly deals with these three. There's another one, Otto. So essentially, it starts out, there's a heist, and there is a. Is it? Hold on. I need to make sure I got the names right because I have a feeling I. One moment. I'm a doofus. All right. Yeah. Nope. I was right. So Kevin, Stuart, Bob. So there, and then there's Otto. So anyway, it starts off. Gru's hired his minions. But first, you have the founder of this team, the Vicious Six, which was founded by the super villain Wild Knuckles. So he's old. They betray him. They leave him to die while they're still in the Zodiac Stone. And yeah, so in order to get a new one, his interview, he is just totally ripped on for his age. And then he manages to steal the stone and escapes with Kevin Stewart Bob. Now he hands the stone to Otto, and Otto, he just loves to talk and talk and talk. He ends up trading the stone for a pet rock, and so Gru fires them and goes to find the stone. Now Knuckles, he comes back, he kidnaps him, and tells the minions that they have 48 hours to find out where Gru will be killed. So then you have this whole thing. So Otto goes and he chases this guy on the motorcycle who has the stone, and it just sort of trails like that thing. Just like it shows him later, he's in Death Valley, and then he runs into the guy, and the guy just like gives him the stone, and that's it. It's like, okay, and then takes him to San Fran, and that's that. Like, it is a story. It's a side story that goes nowhere. It is not well developed, and it just sort of happens. The other three, they go to San Francisco to rescue Gru. They find Wild Knuckles' house. His sort of bodyguards, whatever, minions, they essentially chase them down and beat them up. And that is where we meet Michelle Yeoh's character. What is her name? Master Chow, who it just happens to be in an acupuncture clinic right there. Like, somehow they end up in Chinatown, which again is just like, it's barely played upon. Like, besides the Chinese Zodiac, like everything, like there are certain things in this movie that just seem very convenient, very contrived, and like not in a good way. But anyway, so they go. She initially says no, but then they give her the freaking uh, begging look, the big eyes, the big cat eyes, the you know how it goes. And that's another joke that is played up a lot in this. Well, not a lot. It's played up a couple times, but still, it is just like, ugh. So anyway, she defeats the goons. She teaches them. They're not very good. And then she's about ready to give them their like first badges, and they mistake that to say they are done with their training. And she's like, they're gonna die. And so they go out. So then we go to Gru and Knuckles' story, which is the one that they want you to focus on. And I just didn't care because, again, I'm in it for Gru and Minions, and they're trying to build this relationship with this older criminal that I'm just not feeling. Like it's forcing a story, and you can't force it because then it comes off as though you're faking it. And when you fake it, people can tell. So anyway, his Knuckles' goons, they quit on him, and so he realizes he kind of needs a friend. He's got no one, so he unties him and has him clean his pool. Like he acts like he's gonna turn him into a servant, like clean my pool. And yeah, he ends up going to show Gru how it's done, and almost gets eaten by an alligator. And at that point, it's just like, you know what, I'm going to give you a chance. So I'm going to teach you a thing or two about being a villain. And so they go and they rob the evil bank where they steal the Mona Lisa, and it's like it was amusing. That was amusing, and it kind of like shows his start, but again, it's they're doing it in the expectation of it just like you are going to love this guy, this wild Knuckles. And so it just yeah, but anyway, the Vicious Six, whatever, the Vicious Five, because they don't have a new member yet, they realize that he's alive, and they go to find him. He isn't home, and then after he sees that his house is destroyed and everything, he just gives up. He's just like, you know what, I've had enough, and tells Gru to go home. And then Gru is very sad. He gets on a trolley, and it lasts all of 2 minutes before you're in Chinatown, and he sees one of the minions, and the minion Otto, who has the stone again, and it's just like that was quick. I probably wasn't going to feel anything, but if there was a chance, you left that moment in 2 seconds flat. So I didn't have a chance for anything. So anyway, the Vicious Six finds them and capture him. And they use the stone to turn themselves into characters of the Chinese Zodiac. And then they plan on killing Gru by tying him to a clock tower, so he is literally ripped apart as the clock hands go farther and farther apart. So Kevin Stewart and Bob, they find him, but are turned into lesser powered creatures of the Zodiac: a rabbit, a rooster, and a ram. So Knuckles comes and fights with them, and they're getting their butts kicked until this thing with their training, and it all just comes together, and then they find their inner animal, and then they all have the fire in their eyes. They're just like, ah! And then they start just kicking ass. And they defeat them, but Knuckles is burnt by, what is her name? Bell Bottom, who transformed into a dragon. So Otto saves Gru from the clock tower, who takes out another one. I believe it's... Oh my gosh, I don't even... I literally saw this tonight. And, the characters just aren't memorable. I remember that it was the ape. I forget who it was that transformed into the ape, but whatever. And then as soon as Gru is free, he transforms them all into rats. And then the police come and they are arrested, including Knuckles. Why? Because he didn't... I guess he was involved in the initial heist of the stone, but whatever. And yeah, so they're just like, we're going to put you away for a long time. It's just like, I doubt that. And then they again try to emotionally manipulate you by having there be a funeral. And it's just like he succumbed to his injuries, or he's just old and he just passed away. And then Gru gives the eulogy, but discovers Knuckles is not dead. He is there to watch him. And then him and Gru drive off with the minions after that. And that's the end. It's, like I said, it's short, it's sweet. It makes, again, things that trail off into nothing, because again, you don't see Michelle Yeoh's character after her training thing, yet she's at the funeral for some weird reason. I don't know. And then you see younger versions of Mr. Perkins, who becomes the president of the Bank of Evil, Silas Ramsbottom, who you'll remember from Despicable Me 2. So yeah, there's a lot of callbacks, but again, this movie didn't have a lot going for it, in my opinion. There is a mid-credit scene, so stick around if you watch this. Honestly, I can't recommend you go out in theaters and watch this. Don't spend your money when you can watch it on streaming, and probably just with young kids, because this is a relatively uninteresting entry into this franchise. So mid-credit scene is Gru attempts to hire Dr. Nefaro for the invention that helped him steal the stone, but he says, no, I'm done with villainy. I'm going to happier pastures. And then they all give him the big wide eyes. And he's just like, screw it. And then let me show you something. And then gives them a ride on the airship. And there you go, the start of Gru. So anyway, not the greatest entry. I wouldn't recommend going out and seeing it in theaters. Maybe with kids when it comes on streaming, but yeah, 5 out of 10 for me. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think, though, for sure, and go ahead and put it in the comments. And I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. See ya.